morning, welcome to the Handmade Bookmakery. I'm Sam. I'm here this morning. It is Tuesday, the 16th of February 2021. And I'm here this morning to start a journal project, hopefully. And I thought I would bring you along. I hope I'm going to be able to come back and show you various stages of this. I have a vaguely formed idea of what I want to do, not fully formed. I think I'm struggling to fully form ideas at the moment. We're in week 6 or 7, I don't know, of sort of fairly full-on lockdown here in the UK. I think we might have a couple more weeks, that we've pretty much been here since Christmas. And I'm okay, it's okay, but it is hard going this time. So yeah, and that's affecting sort of a bit of creative flow. But I've been doing lots and lots of things, just like with a brain of a grasshopper, jumping around from one thing to another and nothing very coherent. And that doesn't really matter. But I do want to do something a little bit more focused now. So I have been doing 100 days of collage fodder. I'm on day 17 maybe of the 100-day project. Yeah, I'm really enjoying it. It's a really, really good one to choose for my first time through. So I've got lots and lots of collagey things that I've been making. I'll just show you a few. So I carved some little rubber stamps, and I've made some of these little bits. I've stamped it here onto this sort of khaki fabric. There's a few of those. That's just some handmade paper. I didn't make that. That's just some craft paper with a bit of messy jelly printing. That's a bit of a, that's like a jelly print pickup print, plate cleaning print, and then tea or coffee stained. Now I'm really loving this burgundy colour here. That is, yeah, it's the Winsor & Newton Galleria acrylic burgundy, and I'm running low. I've really been enjoying this colour, and with this sort of khaki olivey green, I think it works really nicely. So one of the ideas I've got is that I want to sort of look at this colour combination. So that you can see it here in this print, and this beautiful grungy print, which I've also scanned and I've printed out as well. This is a pretty, that is an impression made with, on the jelly plate, with an embossing folder. That's it blown up and faded out on my iPad for a bit of background paper. Here is another, this is another hand carved stamp I made and printed out in a couple of different ways. I do like joining it together like that. I think that looks cool. Let's put the little bits to one side. These are, this is the wrong colours really. I should take these out. These are papers I made. This one didn't work so well. You can see it better on, there's the print out of that jelly print. You can see it better on here. So this is Watercolor and Stencils. So I saw this on Instagram, and it was on the Stencil Girl page, and then Chad de Rouen had done it as well, and that's where I first saw it. So it's watercolours, then you kind of lay your stencil on top, then you dab a bit of more watercolour through, and then you sort of dry it off a bit, and then you remove the stencils and dry it off some more, and you get these kind of watery impressions. I think they're great. So that's one is all right colour-wise. These ones are a bit orangey, so I might put them to one side. This one I've like stamped over this morning. just with a load of different stamps, and then brown, 2 shades of brown ink. There, I'm going to put those out of the way. Let's put them up there so I don't get in the middle. This is a big sheet of, not that big. This is a large sheet of like packing paper, and it's got, so I sprayed it with sort of green ink, and then I've stenciled over in white or off-white with like some sort of organic-y stencils, and then I've done some sort of grey over the top as well for a bit of contrast. So that's quite a nice bit of collage fodder there. I've got some vintage wallpaper here, which is rather lovely. I've got just some like stamped bits on tea stained paper, which may be coming useful. I was just trying out some rather nice new stamps, which I can show you at some point if you like. Some stamping in green here to go with my colour theme. A nice script stamp there. This one is like a shabby lace. And that's the postcard. Then this is the block printing I've been doing as part of my collage fodder. Let me see if I can find the block. The block came from Etsy, and I think it came from India, hand carved in India. It's absolutely beautiful. And I had to wait a long time for it to come because all the posts got held up for quite a long time, but I was very pleased to receive it, and yes, it's rather lovely. So this was blocked using that on the jelly plate, so I've got the green and some of that in the burgundy, and then another one of those sheets, which is a little bit bright for me. I need to mix some more muted watercolour colours, but yeah, I was just experimenting and just trying to work out the technique. I can get a bit more focused on colour. This is just like a collage piece of parchment. I was using my homemade tinted collage paste to see how that would go on like different kinds of paper and book pages that don't look very old, which these didn't beforehand, but they look older now. Yeah, it's okay. If you haven't got old book page stuff with natural aging, or you don't want to bother tea staining stuff, this works really well. It obviously doesn't give you the kind of splotchy blotchy effect, but you can always add that later in other ways. Yeah, so that's in here for some reason. More handmade paper, and then I've just printed out a few bits and pieces. Oh, that one is just mark making with it is 4 pieces of like wooden dowel, square wooden trim, and I've taped them together and just used them like a stamp on the jelly plate and then off on the paper, and I quite like that mottled effect. And then I've just printed out a couple of things which might work. I thought these as botanicals in their colours, these are public domain images, would work quite well, so I've printed out some of those. These 2 pages, seed catalogue pages, again, these are from public domain images on Flickr. This is a William Morris printout, but I've tea stained the inkjet print, so it's gone a bit washy and smudgy, and I wanted to tea stain it because it's quite a light background for me on there. This one I love, and it's got really good colours in it for what I'm doing. This is a bit more of a browny tone in this purple, but well, it's not, I don't know what colour it is. It is kind of burgundy. It's not, it is slightly different to the one that I'm working with. As you can see, that's pinker. But I think it'll be alright. I'm not going to get into a state over it. This is a really pretty, this is vintage Indian print fabric, as is this. And this this, and I've got just this piece of background paper here. And then I've got this really old file folder that I'm going to use as a cover. These are really flimsy. They came from the school where I used to work. And I'm going to actually glue both sides of this together to strengthen it and make a nice sturdy cover. So now I'm going to collage. So I'm going to collage this. This is my starting point, is collaging a cover, which is one of my favourite things to do. I don't really know what I'm going to do or how it's going to go. So we will see. We'll see what transpires. Now it may be that I have to take the sound off this video. Ooh, yuck. Take the sound off this video, that's disgusting. And voice it over, depending on how it goes. Because last time I tried to talk on collage, I ended up not talking because collaging often just sends me off into my happy place in my head. And I would stop talking to you guys, which might be. Now that's pretty flimsy. So let me see. And some tape. Some tape. Is this tape? Yeah, okay. So I'm just going to put a piece of tape along the top of here. I don't want to lose the height on it because, although, no, I could, but I'd like to keep it just in case, and then I can trim down later. So this is picture framers tape. It's got a much higher tack than masking tape, but it's a nice matte finish. It's really strong. So I'm going to go this side of that. And some of the paper tapes I've bought recently, I bought paper packing tape, and it's useless because it doesn't stick to itself properly. So yeah, it all just sort of, my parcels, yeah, it's no good. I was being environmentally friendly, but if it doesn't work, it's a bit difficult. Right, okay, there we go. So I've got a nice sturdy piece here, and what I want to do is kind of lay down some background with the various different things. So I'm just going to tear up some of these more kind of muted things. What else have we got? You know, some of this I'm going to want to save till later. Might tear up some of that. But some of the coloured bits also I want to show through and use for accents. So we will see. So that's a print out of that one. Bit of that. Okay, so we might have some of this. This is an iridescent paint colour that I mixed. So I mixed turquoise and orange, and I had leftover iridescent paint, turquoise iridescent paint, which I'm never going to use. I don't mind a bit of shine and sparkle, but I like the I like a grungy colour with a bit of sparkle rather than a light colour, I think. So I really like gold, copper and bronze. But I'm not keen on like iridescent pale colours particularly. A sip of coffee. And then I think I probably do want some book page, because I was looking at this and thinking, can I cope without book page? So I'm going to take some pages out of here. This is the Reader's Digest Complete Library of the Garden. There's 2 volumes of it. I don't know which one is. And can you see this embossed end paper? It's gorgeous. It's going to, I don't know what it's going to become, but it's going to become something one day. So this is, oh, there's 3 volumes apparently. This is volume 2. So this has got really nice papers and pages. I just want some writing really, but everything's got pictures. Just trying to find a double page that's that's not too bad. Let me just grab something to snip these threads. I'm just snipping the threads from the centre of this signature in my preferred method of tweezer and scissors. Okay, so we got that one out. That. So some of these can become pages in the book. Right, there we go, we've got a bit there, and don't want to use that one. Don't want to use that one. Let's find another signature. Right, I'll get some more out in a minute if I need to. But that's a really nice book, and it was published in... This is a first edition, but it doesn't say what year. It's not super duper old. Oh, it's not old enough to copy and reuse. It's more modern than that, but yeah, it's a good few years old. Right, anyway, I've got a bit of book page if I feel I can't cope without it, but I'll just put it there in case. Okay, let's see. So I'm going to start, I think, with some of these pieces of handmade paper and see where we go from there. So yeah, we've been in lockdown for a long time, and my really good news is I am getting vaccinated on Friday, which is really cool. So I come in with so in the UK we have medically highly vulnerable, or extremely vulnerable, and then medically vulnerable, and I come into the medically vulnerable category, which means I get vaccinated along with the over 60s. I'm not over 60, I'm almost 50, but I got a message yesterday to book my appointment, so I am going on Friday lunchtime for my first vaccination, so I'm really, really thrilled to be going, because with my health not being the best, catching COVID was quite a big fear for me. I will trim this back later if I need to. So yeah, I've been feeling quite fearful about it, on and off. I'm trying not to dwell, but I am really, really pleased to be getting my jab. Right, I need an inky something, an inky doubler. No! I moved everything out of my way to film. I can't find it. Here we go. Here we go. Right, I don't like these white edges. I've got less obsessive about inking. I used to ink everything, and now sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. I suppose it's if I put something down and without the ink, it's sort of jarring to me. So those white edges are. So I just want to kind of get a base layer down over things. And I really am trying not to think about this, because if I get stuck in my head and start thinking, oh, does that look good? Does this look good? What do other people think about how it looks? All that kind of stuff, then I get kind of a bit frozen. And that's one of the reasons why I've not really made that many videos, have I? But I've voiced over some of my collage videos. The other reason is just household noise, because my craft space is open, plan to the living room. So we live in the UK in a Victorian house that was built, I think it was 1906 this house was built. So it has a very traditional layout. It's a terraced house. So these were originally cottages for factory workers who worked at the nearby tobacco factories. They see, oh look, I'm stopped collaging to talk to you now. Let me have a sip of coffee. Yeah, so you come into the front door, and then you've got like a front living room and a back living room. So traditionally a living room and a dining room, and in lots of these houses, and this as was ours when we moved in, they've knocked through the 2 rooms, so you have one long kind of knocked through living space. And and it's nice. And I think we probably, I don't know whether we'd have knocked it through. I think we probably would have knocked it through when the kids were little, because it certainly works really well at that point. But then when you've got teenagers making noise everywhere, sometimes being able to go somewhere and shut the door on everything is nice. Right, so what I've got to do is incorporate these handmade papers in with the printed papers, and that's kind of what I want to do, because if I don't start using this collage fodder that I'm making every day for 100 days, I'm going to end up drowning in paper. So yeah, this little square printy stuff I rather like. I don't know what we're going to end up with here, but we'll see. This is deli paper, painty deli paper. Yeah, so I'm really enjoying kind of, you know, making my fodder, making my art materials and things like that. I think it's, yeah, I like using kind of my own creations alongside, you know, public domain images or ready-made papers, scrapbook papers, all sorts of things really, that you can use. Some of this is a bit yellowy. I'll just find some of the green bits. Oh, I don't know about you. What about... Oh, that works nicely. Yeah, those are going to work nicely. Let's find that scripty one and this one. Okay. I'm overthinking. Keep sticking. Stop thinking. So yes. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to having my vaccination and feeling a little bit less worried. And my parents have had theirs, and my mother-in-law has had hers. So yes, the most vulnerable, you know, my immediate family are all done and dusted. No, that's not true. We've all got to go back for the 2nd dose, so I'm talking absolute nonsense. Okay. Don't like it. Some of this. You're not sticking. Stick. Right, I have very girly fingers. Let's get a watch of this. Into here. Little bit of ink. This is frayed burlap oxide. Frayed burlap oxide. Right. That. Let's get a bit more of this. A little bit of ink. Yeah, it's just where I'm tearing the white paper that I'm wanting ink, because I don't want the bright white edges to show. The other ones don't need it. Bring it all the way over here and meet that one. Oh, I've just torn the corner off. Stronger than I know. There we go. Bit of that. We're going to need a bit of this over here. So we've got a couple of little gaps going on, but I mean, I'm going to put, you know, smaller elements on, hopefully, as we go. And that's the door. I'll be back. Right, I'm back. The dog arrived back from her walk. So I now have a slightly crazy dog in the other half of the room. So if you hear any strange noises, that'll be her. I finished this off, so I've got the whole thing covered on this side. I want to just think about what I'm going to have sort of on the focal image. Let's put a bit on my ink and find my tear ruler. So I want to maybe use one of these images to go on the front. So I'm going to tear a couple of them out to see how they look. Oh, torn into that one there. Never mind. I do like that one with the berries on it. But I also quite like this cropped one here. It's also a case of sizing. That's probably a more logical way I could have torn these up. Let's try these two for now. So I'm thinking that if I use the block print as a background, that might look rather nice. I've missed the edge on there. How annoying. So I've just had a text message to say that my delivery driver is 30 minutes away, and that is my new sewing machine. So that is very, very exciting. My sewing machine is on its last legs. It's at least 40 years old, I'd have thought. It was handed down to me by my my grandmother, my birth grandmother. So my father was adopted, so this was his birth mum who he found when he was in his 40s, and she was a seamstress and made wedding dresses. So, oh, that's so unstraight. She handed me down a Singer, what is it called? A Singer Serenade. And I think it must be 80s. Anyway, it's not functioning particularly well, and on its last legs. I don't know whether bigger might be better. This is quite a big cover. So this large one, except for that, is meant to be that way around. What about you on there? We'll go back to plan A, which is you on here. Oh, I prefer this. I prefer this. Right, so in half an hour's time, according to the text, my driver will be here. And I looked, in our first lockdown, I looked at new sewing machines because mine was really acting up. And I was starting to panic because I didn't want to be without it. And, or without a machine. And they were all out of stock. Everybody was buying them. And I did have a feeling it might still be the case. But when I went onto the internet, there were quite a lot in stock. The really, the top of the range ones were out of stock, and the really cheap ones, but the mid-range, which serendipitously is what I wanted to get, were in stock. So that was really good. So I went on yesterday, and it's free next day delivery. So I am, yeah, it was quick. It was quick, and I've been looking and researching. So I am really looking forward to getting my new sewing machine, and I will let you know how it is. So let's have a look, see what this looks like. What do we think? What do we think? What do we think? That side, do we like it? I almost like it there better. Right, let's try some ink on all of this. Oh. Okay, on that one, and I've ripped the corner of this, but it really doesn't matter. This is going to be grungy and shabby, like almost everything I make. So what I'm thinking about in this journal, and one of the reasons I wanted such a big cover, is I want to play with varying like page sizes, edges maybe. I've been looking at, you know, looking at other people's work and thinking, one of the things I don't do very much is really kind of work on. I think it's because I love making covers, and I find assembling pages less fun. Don't know. So I really want to sort of think about the art of that, and yeah, and how I'm creating variety and texture. You know, it makes sense for me because getting everything straight and neat and lined up is not my forte. And when I've tried to, like, you know, do a proper neat trim with a sharp knife on a book block, you know, it doesn't go well usually. There's almost always some little nick or glitch or something. I don't seem to have the ability to do it really precisely, and whether I think it's probably because I'm just not patient enough and I press too hard with my knife, and I don't accept that I need to change the blade on my knife as often as I should, because I think I can make it last longer and then it chews up all my paper. Anyway, so I'd like to stitch this round before it gets stuck down, and I'm wondering whether we want some textile on here as well. I've got some really fine burgundy fabric. I mean, I've got loads of neutral colour fabric. I've got some greenish fabric. Let me just have a quick look. Right, so a big crackly bag here. Let's get this out. So one of the things I buy for making my shabby trim are these inexpensive, like, scarves, pashmina style scarves, and they're like sort of thin cheesecloth. Look. Really fine fabric. It's not the easiest to tear, but if you're firm with it, it will rip. It frays well. Let's just get it off here. So yeah, they're a few pounds, and they come in a massive variety of colours. So you have to be firm when you're ripping it. Oh, I'm going all the way. I thought I was going across the width. It turns out I'm going long ways. Okay. Oh dear. Okay. Oh my goodness. Right, I'm exhausted. It's so long. Oh, getting in a pickle. Right, let's have a think. Right, let's get this back. So what about that? I'm just going to cover up the long collaged front. I think that's a bit big. So we can either do this, or which is rather nice against that. What about doing it wonky? Like that. Don't need you. And then maybe, where is my stained? This is gauze, really thin muslin gauze, really loose weave. I think this was maybe sold as like kitchen stuff, and I've used it. So when I stain things with inks or tea stain or whatever, I often put a bit of textile underneath to, you know, add some colour and variety. So I end up with these nice grungy pieces. But this has got quite a lot of purple in it, which I think is probably Victorian velvet distress ink. Probably I'm trying to get one of the purpley bits out of here. Or get a bit that has some purple on. Right. So what about having like a shabby bit here, then so just a little bit peeking out at different places, and then using this somehow, maybe, or maybe it'll be too much. Can you see? Just give up a bit. So what I'm going to do is I will think about that, and then stitch that round. Then I will cover the inside. So I will cover this completely with fabric, and I will add the inside pockets now. So I like to make fabric pockets in the covers of my journals because I think they're really strong, and I don't know about you, but I tend to kind of cram a lot of stuff in the front of my books. So I'm hoping that so I think a fabric pocket in the front, particularly one that's really structurally part of the book, is a really good idea. So what I will do is I will glue, before I sew, this piece of fabric on here, and then I will trim it. I'm going to fold it up, cut it across so to where the pocket will go, and I will fold the top over and either stitch or fix it down or glue it down. That's not straight, as you can see, and then I will sew all the way around the outside, yeah, and then up the middle to hold the pocket for the spine. And that way you've got pockets that have quite a lot of capacity and are really strong and won't tear. So but I will go off and do that, and I will see you back here in the next video. Well, we'll start working on the insides of this book, hopefully. Thank you ever so much for joining me today, and I will see you next time.